Hi, my name is April. I'm going to be talking about the golf putt and paraplegia. So the objectives of this video are to discuss a brief overview of what golf is, and then more specifically the golf putt, and then we'll talk about paraplegia, and then adapted golf. And then I'll go into my SOAP plan from an occupational therapist standpoint. So what is golf? Golf is a club and ball sport in which players use various clubs to hit balls into a series of holes on a course and as few strokes as possible. The game is typically played on a course with an arranged progression of 18 holes. Each hole must contain a tee box to start from and then a putting green containing the actual hole. There are other standard forms of terrain such as the fairway, rough, bunkers, and other hazardous terrains. So specifically on the golf putt, the putt is a stroke in golf that you make when the ball has reached the green in an attempt to get the ball in the hole. You use a club called the putter once you get on the green to putt the ball into the hole, and the grip used for putting is different from the grip used for other clubs. Many golfers use what's called the reverse overlap grip because it prevents the wrist from breaking during the putt. So, paraplegia. Paraplegia is sometimes called partial paralysis. It's a form of paralysis in which functioning is substantially impeded from the waist down. Most people with paraplegia have perfectly healthy legs. Instead, the problem resides in either the brain or spinal cord, which cannot send or receive signals to the lower body due to an injury or disease. Like other forms of paralysis, paraplegia substantially varies from one person to another. While the stereotype of a paraplegic is of a person in a wheelchair who cannot move his or her arms or legs, cannot feel anything below the waist, and cannot walk, paraplegics actually have a range of capabilities that may change over time, both as their health evolves and their physical therapy helps them learn to work with around their injuries. Spinal cord injuries are the leading cause of paralysis, including paraplegia. The leading cause of spinal cord injuries include car and motorcycle accidents, falls, violence, commonly gunshot wounds, sports or recreational activities, and medical or surgical injuries. Other causes could be due to strokes, genetic disorders, autoimmune disorders, infections to the brain or spinal cord, and tumors. Some of the most common effects of paraplegia include loss of sensation below the site of injury, phantom sensations in the body, unexplained pain, electrical sensations, or other intermittent feelings in the lower half of the body, a decrease in or loss of sexual function, libido, or fertility, difficulty with bladder and bowel movement or bowel functions, and the loss of mobility below the waist, changes in mood. Depression is common among people with new paraplegia diagnosis. Weight gain, particularly if the caloric intake is not adjusted to account for the reduced activity levels. Secondary infections in the lower half of the body, particularly bed sores and skin problems. And then secondary problems at the site of injury, such as infections or lesions and chronic pain. So with adapted golf, specifically the adapted golf putt, both paraplegics and quadriplegics that can grip a golf club require much of the same equipment to play adapted golf. A golf chair or a wheelchair car is very important. There is a golf wheelchair that is a single seat that swings to the side, which allows the player to golf right from the cart. With the seat turned outward and facing the court, the golfer can swing unimpeded. Other than the golf cart, golfers will need proper straps around their waist and legs for safety and stability. They also make shorter clubs available for golfers with limited upper body strength. And there are also adaptive devices that allow players to tee up the ball without bending over. So now I'll be going into my SOAP plan. So for the subjective section, my patient's name is John, who is a 47-year-old man with paraplegia. He is a war veteran that lost mobility in his lower legs, and due to paraplegia, he is wheelchair bound, and he has a loss of sensation in his lower body extremities due to a spinal cord injury and is unable to walk. And as said before, in the subjective section, John is paraplegic. So for this lesson, we'll be at an 18-hole putt-putt course, and the equipment needed will be the golf chair, the golf wheelchair, the supportive straps, a putter, and a golf ball. So since the patient will be in a wheelchair, we'll just warm up and then play putt-putt on the 18-hole putt-putt course. And so we will need to warm up the wrists and shoulders and trunk. So first, the patient will need to get in the chair for safety, or to get in the chair and safely secured. He may need physical assistance getting from his normal wheelchair into his golf wheelchair. So once he is in the golf wheelchair, he will be able to warm up. He will need to do arm circles. So for the arm circles, the patient will need to abduct his arms out to the side to become parallel with the ground and do arm circles. First to do 10 small arm circles forward and then 10 backward, and then he will do 10 larger arm circles forward and then 10 backward. Then the second exercise will be the arm pull. So for this exercise, the patient will have one arm straight and have the other arm pulled against his chest to feel stretched in the shoulder, and hold until he feels as though it's stretched enough, and then repeat on the opposite side. Then the third exercise will be wrist circles. So the patient will move both wrists in circles 10 times each. So after the patient is warmed up, we'll begin at the first hole on the putt-putt course. He will be in his golf wheelchair, which will allow him to stand, being fully supported in order to putt the golf ball. He will complete all 18 holes like everyone else, except instead of standing, he will be in a chair. So there will be minimal assistance except for when assistance is truly needed, such as getting from like one hole to the next. And so after all 18 holes, I will ask for personal feedback on the experience of playing putt-putt, and the feedback will determine if I will incorporate golf into future appointments with this patient. And that's all.